All right, let's talk about a risk that's completely changing the game for every modern enterprise. You see, the question is no longer if your defenses will be breached. The real question is whether your entire operation can be learned and then imitated by AI. And this isn't some far-off sci-fi threat. It's happening right now. And frankly, there's a 14-day mandate for you to prove you're ready for it. So let's start with a question that every executive, every board member should be asking themselves. What if your biggest AI threat isn't some hacker trying to get in? What if it's an AI that's just watching, quietly learning how you operate from the outside, perfectly modeling your workflows, your approval chains, your entire operational rhythm, just by observing the digital signals you're already sending out? You know, for decades, all our security focus has been on intrusion, building bigger walls to prevent a breach. While the new risk is imitation. Adversarial AI doesn't need to break down the door anymore. Think of it like this. It's standing across the street just watching, learning the patterns of everyone who comes and goes, until it knows you so well it can just walk right in, disguised as a trusted insider, and no one would even blink.
So how does it learn? Well, it learns from what we call the behavioral exhaust your company emits every single day. I'm talking about things like workflow timing, the logic of your approvals, even your retry and failover patterns. And here's the critical part. You can't patch a workflow's timing. You can't just revoke a behavioral pattern. Once it's learned, that knowledge is out there forever, and it's compounding your risk silently every single day.
This really brings us to a terrifying point. I want you to think about this quote for a second. If a workflow is learnable today, the loss clock has already started. That means it doesn't even matter if an attack has happened yet. The moment you're learnable, the vulnerability is live. And that's the trigger for a whole cascade of predictable and very negative outcomes.
And this cascade, well, it's what we call the predictable loss chain. It's like a row of dominoes. It starts with learnability. That's the technical vulnerability. That immediately becomes a liability for the business. That, in turn, can trigger a mandatory regulatory disclosure. And what's the final domino to fall? Direct, painful, and measurable damage to your company's market valuation.
And don't think this is just theoretical. We can put some serious numbers on this. I mean, look at this. We're talking hundreds of millions, sometimes even billions, in losses from what's called synthetic insider fraud. Insurance carriers, they're already writing AI exclusions into their policies, leading to a 60 to 70% claim rejection rate. And the market? Oh, the market will punish you for this exposure with a 15 to 35% drop in your valuation. And I want to be crystal clear. These aren't the consequences of a breach. This is the direct market punishment for simply being learnable. Okay, so we've established the threat is invisible, it's insidious, and it is incredibly expensive. So the big question is, how in the world do you fight an enemy you can't even see? Well, you start by making the invisible visible. Let's look at exactly how you can surface, quantify, and ultimately collapse this new form of AI exposure.
The key to this is something called the Behavioral Exposure Meter, or BEM. Now, this is not just another security score to add to your dashboard. This is a governance-grade metric. It's designed to stop asking old questions like, did someone get in? And start answering the one question that truly matters now. How learnable is our enterprise to AI right now?
So how do you get this number? How can a company measure this? And more importantly, prove they can control it? Well, one of the most effective ways is a really tightly focused engagement, like a 14-day proof program. The whole idea is simple. You pick one critical workflow, and in just 2 weeks, you generate definitive governance-grade evidence of your exposure, and, crucially, how to get rid of it.
The transformation can be, well, frankly, it's dramatic. Let's look at the actual proof from a real-world scenario.
So get this, an enterprise started with a BEM score of 81. Let me be clear, a score like that isn't just high risk. It signifies a total governance failure. It means the enterprise is wide open. But after applying containment technology in this 14-day program, that score plummeted to just 6. That is a massive shift from catastrophic exposure to a state of low, completely manageable learnability.
So what do those numbers actually mean in terms a CEO or a board can understand? That starting score of 81, that's way up in the 60-plus category, a governance failure that requires urgent, immediate action. Delaying isn't an option. You're actively training the models against you. But the final score of 6, that lands you squarely in the green zone. Low learnability, which just needs quarterly monitoring. This isn't just a small improvement. It's a fundamental change in your company's entire risk posture.
When you see a result like that, the path forward becomes incredibly clear. The decision to get this kind of proof for your own organization, well, it stops being a risk. For any leadership team, it becomes a mandate. You have to understand your true exposure.
And the process to get this proof is incredibly straightforward and, importantly, non-disruptive. First, we just establish a baseline of your current behavioral leakage, all under NDA, of course. Second, the containment technology is deployed, and this takes hours, not months, with zero disruption. And finally, you get the proof, a clear before and after report showing you exactly how much your risk has been reduced, all quantified.
Now I know what you might be thinking. Is this safe? What's the catch? And that's the beauty of it. A program like this is designed to be completely safe and bounded. It's telemetry only. No payloads are ingested, no user data is ever accessed, and everything happens in an NDA-bound environment. It's a fixed, 14-day window, it's zero cost, and there is absolutely no commitment beyond just seeing the proof for yourself.
And you know, the reason there's an urgency here isn't about some sales tactic. It's actually about data integrity. Your behavioral exposure, it compounds every single day. That means the quality of the measurement, the accuracy of your baseline is at its highest right now. Any delay actually makes it harder to see the problem clearly.
So we end right back where we started, with a question that has really become a mandate for leadership. The choice is no longer if this AI risk exists. The only choice is whether you're going to see it and contain it before the market does it for you. So the ultimate question for your enterprise is no longer just, are we secure? It's, are we unlearnable?